This is the Daily Dose on Sportsnet. Faizal, Khamisa, joined by Justin Bourne. Justin, we've got to do it again. Break down why the Leafs lost and what the future looks like. It was probably the lowest of the losses in terms of all the ones over the last few years, and it's hard not to look at the production of the top-end players and see why the Leafs didn't come through in this series, and that means talking about Mitch Marner. What does his future in Toronto look like after another playoff series like that?
Well, his future looks a lot less fun because he's going to hear about it at every turn. And, he and Toronto have basically become the San Jose Sharks of yore, where it's like, no one cares what you do in the regular season anymore. Great. You won your division again, can you do it in playoffs? And that's what it's going to be for Mitch Marner. There are calls for, from the fan base to trade him, right? Someone's got to go. He makes a lot of money. He hasn't scored in 18 straight playoff games. I'm not in that camp.
Yeah.
I think you risk being the Oklahoma City Thunder and moving on from Harden, Westbrook, and Durant. You want to surround those guys with talent and see what they can do rather than move off of them and then find out that they're all MVP candidates every year. So I think it's too soon to move off of them. And I know everyone's frustrated. And look, I was frustrated too watching it, but I don't think that's the solution here.
Look at Justin. Don't just call him a hockey guys. Do not do that. All right. Let's talk about a couple other players here if we can real quickly. William Nylander has shut everyone up, right?
Yeah, how nice is that?
Yeah.
This is the first offseason in his tenure as a Maple Leaf. We won't talk about Willie Nylander. It's like $7 million, under $7 million for that kind of production. Does it in the postseason. This guy, who doesn't love William Nylander? It is funny to be able to talk like that about him, but it's refreshing. There are other problems, and it's not as simple as pin it on old Willie this year.
Yeah. Which is nice to hear because, again, I think a lot of that stuff is widely undeserved. All right. Morgan Rielly's future in Toronto looks like.
Yeah, it's a different one.
Yeah.
I've got an article on sportsnet.ca that's up right now that you can check out where I kind of concluded that if I were to do something, that might be the spot. The reasons are not that I don't think he's a good player, that he played poorly in the series. I think his contract is just about up and he's going to demand more than he currently makes. I think he's a mess on the power play. His vision doesn't seem to be there. He doesn't have the big shot. I think Sandin's going to be that guy and take a lot of his points away, and all of a sudden his production's going to fall off. Like, that's a place to me where you can find some money. You can try to protect Dermott. Sandin gets more ice time. You still have a very good top six, I think, if you keep Bogosian. So to me, Rielly is the guy where I would consider, is that a place where we can make our team different than it's been because we want to do something different.
You can, of course, read Justin's latest up on sportsnet.ca. It's got a lot more detail, a lot more insight as to what exactly happened with the Toronto Maple Leafs this time around. Justin, as always, thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks, Faze.